opinion. It's asking for your position on, do you think this is a positive or negative development? So once you start to understand that, the questions become much easier and more straightforward. So there's 3 elements to how do I give the examiner exactly what he or she wants. And then when you're proofreading, your proofreading's easy, guys, because you're just looking at it and going, okay, just checking off. I know that I've prepared properly and I practiced and I've got feedback on my work and I know exactly what to do. And yeah, good. I'm going to get the score that I need, move on with my life and forget about Chris Pell and IELTS and all this silly stuff, so that you can just, move on with your life and get over this obstacle, and leave me to worry about IELTS. All right, guys, so this is your turn to put into practice everything you've learned this week. Artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom. Do you agree with this statement? What is an alternative to traditional face-to-face teaching? Write the whole essay using everything you've learned to write a Band 7 essay. Hello and welcome to the final lesson of IELTS Essay Builder. Well done for making it this far. And what we're going to do is give you your final feedback and do this through a live demo. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a full demo lesson. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and I will do the question myself. And what I'll do is I will take you through how I would think about the question, how I would think about writing it, and write it live on the screen for you. So this will bring together all of the things that we have learned throughout this course, and so that you can learn from it and compare your own writing and compare your own thinking. Also, what we'll do is we'll talk about how to take things to the next level. We do have a very small number of places available on our VIP course, and I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of this video. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. This is a document on Google Docs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the question that you have already attempted, and I haven't looked at it, I haven't prepared an answer or anything like that, and I'm going to just do it as if I was a student doing the test. Obviously, I have to talk you through it because you can't read my thoughts, but I'll try and talk as much as I can about how I'm thinking about the question and as I write it. Now, because I'm doing it live, I will make small mistakes, and that's all part of the process, and I'll go and edit it at the end as you would do in the real exam. Now, let's start. So the first thing we need to do is we need to understand the question. So artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom. So artificial intelligence, AI, deep learning, computer learning, whatever way you want to put it, will replace teachers in the classroom. So this is going to understand this, I need to think about teachers and education. So what we're going to have is we're not going to have teachers. Instead, we're going to have artificial intelligence. So students will be learning by looking at computers or speaking to, an AI robot or something like that, and it will be in the classroom. So I understand that, and that's going to be in the near future. So it hasn't happened yet, but it will be in the near future. So in the test, the first thing I would do is just sit calmly and not try and think of any ideas or not try and think of how to answer the question at all. Do one thing at a time and just think about what this means. Because if you don't understand what it means, then you're not going to be able to answer the question. The next thing I'd do is I'd look at the type of question it is. So we have 2 clear questions here, so it's a double question, so I understand what that one is. So what I would do now is I would just separate this out. Most people are not good at multitasking. What you want to do is give each question just total focus. So I'm going to ignore this question for the time being, and I'm just going to look at this one. So do you agree with this statement? So there's only 2 possible answers to this. Again, as I always say, keeping it simple, there's only 2 possible answers. Yes, artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom, or no, they won't. Now, you could give your personal opinion, but the best way to answer this is just which one can I easily write about? Which one is the easiest to think of an idea, explain that idea, and to support with an argument, support with evidence? And I think the easiest one, because it's the near future, you're not talking about 100 years. No, I don't think that they will replace teachers. And the reason for that is I can think of immediately 2 or 3 really good reasons why they won't, and I can explain that, and I can support that with evidence. So I'm going to think no for this one. So what I need to do now is think of an idea. So I would just think, imagine I'm sitting with a friend and they said to me, do you think that artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom? No. So why would I think that? What would be the first reason to pop into my head? Another way to think about it would be, if this question was asked, if 100 people were asked this question just randomly, what would be the most common reason? I'd say there'd be two most common reasons. Would be teachers are needed for support. So that's things like, feedback and discipline, things like that. So, a computer can't really provide feedback. It can't really get, control children, especially young children. So that would be idea one. Another alternative idea would be AI is not advanced enough. AI just isn't smart enough yet to really teach children or teach anybody. It's not just children. So it's talking about the classroom, but adults are in the classroom too. So it wouldn't just hone in on children. So what I'd do here is kind of put these together and put AI is not advanced enough to provide to educate, and I'll just put some ideas here, because remember, it's just the ideas phase. We haven't begun writing yet, and obviously you wouldn't take this amount of time. I'm explaining this and talking through it. In the real test, I would do this in 1 or 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that one. How would I explain this? So a teacher needs to give feedback and support and discipline. Again, just very basic notes. I know that that's not grammatically correct or anything like that. It's just doing quick notes. I think example I would use for this would be Google Translate. So if you look at Google Translate, it has two major flaws. The first major flaw would be it's not very good at translating language, demonstrating that AI is not advanced enough. And the other thing is that like a program like Google Translate obviously can't, identify strengths and weaknesses, provide practice, things like that. So this is a very, an example of AI, an example of a computer program that isn't a tool that is involved in education, but it's just not there yet. Maybe in 20 years it will be, but not there. So we already have like the bones of the structure of an argument here. You wouldn't go into too much detail, just very brief notes. And then what you would do is just stop thinking about this one and move on to the next one. And again, it's taken me, I don't know how long to do that, but in the real test, it would be, a minute or two just to note down these things. So what is an alternative to traditional face-to-face teaching? Okay, so idea that will pop into my head would be an online course. Because I run an online course, but online course, a teacher can remotely do all of the things that a regular teacher can also do. Also access to the best teachers in the world. In your local area, you might not have access to really good teachers, but if you're using an online course, normally, you could have access to literally the best teacher in the world, and they could be on the other side of the planet. example. So a lot of the best universities in the world have online courses now where they record the lectures and they put them online, and then they provide like individual classes and practice activities and all of these different things. So already I have, this is my paragraph. All right. So to check back, always check back to the question. So this is good. Do you agree? No, I don't. Here's my reason. What is an alternative? Here's my alternative. Here's an explanation about why, why is it a good alternative? And then an example here. I could use my own course, but I'm not going to. Okay, so this is my argument. Now, what you could do now is you could do a full let me just obviously you won't be able to color code in the real test, but just that'll make it easier for you to understand this. Main body paragraph 1. Let's put softs that I'm not going to get into an argument about what soft skills are, but just for the sake of in the test, if just to encapsulate what that is, and let's put, so that's my main body here, main body 2, online courses. That could be two separate ideas and two separate explanations. What I tend to do when I'm planning stuff out is I don't really delete stuff. If I have like a couple of ideas or a couple of explanations or a few different examples, I normally just keep them in here. So that gives me the freedom when I'm put that in there just in case I do use that, because when you start writing, ideas pop into your head and you can go in different directions, so it's good to just have a few different options here. Conclusion, summary of above. So what this does, so now we have our complete plan, and what this does in the real test is it allows us to be certain about what we're doing, because if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. Like, and there's this quote, I think it's Warren Buffett said, who's was the richest man in the world, an idiot with a plan can outperform a genius without a plan. And the same is true for this. Like, someone with a very, very high level of English who just starts writing without any plan might not do as well as someone who is more organized and has the plan down. Because what happens is you start to write without a plan, and then you change direction and you get lost, and then you have to start again, and time is running out, and you're in all sorts of trouble. So doing something like this, and again, in the real test, this would take me just a few minutes, but it is an investment of time, and we know exactly what to do now. Okay, so now we're ready to start. When you are paraphrasing, always have this with you. So let's say, so normally you wouldn't just abbreviate words. Like I've shortened artificial intelligence to AI. Let's say FBI, everyone knows that that's the Federal Bureau of Investigation. CIA, everyone knows that's the Central Intelligence Agency. If it's commonly known, everybody knows that AI means artificial intelligence. So if it's a common thing, then that's no problem. But you couldn't, replace teachers with RT. Like that's not commonly known. BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. You can do that. So just be careful with shortening stuff. But for the purposes of this is fine. So AI could okay. So AI, artificial intelligence, could take the place of, will soon replace, could take the place of teachers. I'm going to keep teachers because in the test, what might happen is when you're paraphrasing, you might be like, teachers, 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 teachers. I can't think of anything. Oh, I can't think of it. And then you're wasting time and then you panic. Like if you have to replace one word or you can't replace one word, that's no problem. They're not going to mark you down for that. In the near future, we'll soon replace it. We'll soon